What is up? I just tweeted live here the Week 15 edition of Matchup Points. Hope that I didn't have a bad typo in that tweet. I am John Hansen, Adam Caplan, and Brett Whitefield ready to rock and roll here. First week of the fantasy playoffs. Our guy Tommy T on the other side of the glass. And we're off. All right, we kick off the week. I'm sure everyone's doing well with the Thursday night football game. Let's get right to it. Mr. Caplan, in terms of injuries, seems like Josh Jacobs, by the time we sign off, likely going to be inactive. We should see Mr. Keenan Allen. I see Colton Miller is out, so you're starting left tackle. That's not great. What else is popping here? No Keenan Allen. We know that. What else is going on?
Yeah, so here's the good news. Josh Palmer will play. Now, they try to downplay him playing like all the snaps, that they're not going to do that with his first game back after being out several weeks with a knee problem. Mm-hmm. He's going to play a lot tonight. That's their plan. And then you've got Johnson, Jalen Guyton is their 9-route guy. I know they don't want to be a lot of 12 personnel, but they're so down at receiver. The numbers, they just don't have a lot of guys left. So I would think Everett and Parham will get a little bit of a boost for this game. Yeah,
no doubt here. Brett, we'll get into it. I don't know if you have any thoughts here. I see, our analysis is pretty good on the Charger running game. Showed a little signs of life last week. So maybe Austin Eckler has a chance. What stands out to you here for the Chargers? Or is it Quentin Johnston, the rookie who did make a play last week with Easton Stick?
Yeah, I like I do like Eckler a lot in this game. So when Easton Stick came into the game, they immediately went back to Austin Eckler as a target hog. I think his target share once Easton Stick came in the game was like 24% or something like that. So with the ability to run on the Raiders, plus Eckler being the check down guy again, I do really like this matchup for Eckler. I think this is a slam dunk spot for him, especially week 1 of the playoffs. It's a good sign for Eckler owners. Quentin Johnson, yeah, I mean, I think the Raiders, they don't have like legit outside corners. I think Adams noted this a few times now, but Nate Hobbs is a good slot corner. Amik Robertson is a fine player, but he's probably best suited in the slot as well. And he's 5'7" playing the outside corner. So I think there's a legit chance Quentin Johnson could get loose downfield.
Yeah, certainly like Gerald Everett. That was my Thursday night special. I think the prop actually dropped to 28.5, which is a little weird, but they're giving up numbers. Are the Raiders 6 grabs for like 66 a game the last 4, and Mr. Everett's come through 3 weeks in a row. Adam, real quick, back to you. Like, there does seem, I saw our guy Adam Schefter on ESPN talking about AOC. It doesn't sound like there'll be a quick hook tonight, but I would imagine there might be if he's that bad. And does seem like the Aiden O'Connell evaluation period is kind of over unless he dramatically improves.
You have to remember, Antonio Pierce wants a chance to be their head coach after the season. O'Connell's, it's been more down than up. And that's kind of where they're at. Yeah, of course. And by the way, both teams, I know it's a minor miracle, but they're still in the hunt for the last wild card spot. They got to win this game tonight. And yeah, you're right. You nailed it. Absolutely. After O'Connell, if he's struggling, absolutely. It's all in the cards tonight. Now, last week was an absolute disaster. It was scheme versus scheme, and I got to give both coordinators credit. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I know Justin Jefferson got hurt. We have to absolutely mention that. But still, the defenses were great. Schemes are great. The execution was great. It's going to be tough, but as Brett said, look, at least Stick knows to check the ball down. And by the way, he moves pretty well. He doesn't throw it great, but he could scramble.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. I kind of think of him as a pocket passer, but I kind of glossed over that today on the radio. So we'll see. I know he ran in college, I guess, but I guess we'll see if he runs in the pros. Brett, back to you. Any thoughts on the Raider running game? Let's assume it's no Josh Jacobs. Were you a Zamir White person? I mean, this guy has done, granted, he only gets like 2 carries a game, but man, he has done very little.
Yeah, no, I was never a Zamir White guy. I'm a little concerned with the Raiders offense in general. Like, they're down Colton Miller, and the Chargers have all these exotic blitz packages. They blitz like 40 over the last 5 weeks. They're blitzing at a rate of 40%, which is number 1 in the NFL, 40.1%.
Khalil Mack leads the NFL in sacks.
Right. We're having a vintage Khalil Mack season. But like the confusion at the line of scrimmage, down starting offensive lineman is going to be chaos for both the drop back pass game and the run game, I think. So this could take the Raiders a little bit to get going, I think, early in this game for sure.
I did throw out a Michael Mayer prop. I think he can get there. It's like 19.5 yards. So that's one there that I went for. And then Devontae Adams, a little ill, I guess, but I'd imagine he's going.
Yeah. I'd be very surprised if he didn't go, but obviously he's unhappy. You understand it. And he's actually been an O'Connell supporter, but last week was a disaster. So it's, you look at the personnel of the Chargers and we know about the production they've given up. So at least it's there to happen. It's possible.
Right.
But O'Connell's got to play better. I mean, and you mentioned Colt Miller being out again. And by the way, Andre James, their center's out too.
Yeah. 2 starters on the O-line. Let's go to Minnesota at Cincinnati. I mean, a decent total for 2023 and this one a 40. For the Vikings, Alexander Madison already ruled out, so we can get some Ty Chandler thoughts here. Brian O'Neill out. That sucks. That's your starting right tackle. And otherwise, Adam, I think we're clean here with the Bengals.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah, the cool thing is that Chase is okay. I mean, Chase is okay after he tweaked his ankle last week, so that's good. I just love the thing that has been so surprising about Jake Browning is his ability to throw the ball downfield. It's been really fascinating, and I love that they feel he can do it because remember last year we talked about Fields. They tried to hide him. The Bears coaches, they wouldn't let him throw. Once Browning proved that he can handle the volume and some shot plays, I loved it. And also the other thing I want to add is how good does Chase Brown look as a changeup?
Oh man, I mean, absolutely. I was very much into him as like a last pick of the draft guy. I thought he would be a real factor. Maybe he would have.
That screen was beautiful, but that was so well timed. And I remember when I said he reminded me of Eckler. I'm not the only one who thought that. Apparently, but a bunch of people do.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember having Jeff Hobson, our guy, on who works for the Bengals website and covers them forever. And I threw out that theory and he was like, oh, wow. Even he was like surprised, like, you know what? You might be right about that. But then the injuries occurred. Brett, schematically, though, this Viking D, man, I mean, they're just stingy. They have not given up 16 fantasy points, by the way, since like October, like maybe even early October, like week 5 or something like that. They can get pressure. They seem to cover well. I mean, what do you think of this matchup here and then look, they're good against the run. I mean, the Viking D, you got to give Flores credit because they are legit and it's every week. They're just stingy.
Yeah, they absolutely are. What they've done, I think the turnaround started week 4 where they just turned it all around, found that identity. The only thing with this matchup that's a little shocking to me is Cincinnati's been shockingly good against the blitz. And that's where Minnesota's, paying their bills right now. In fact, the pressure rate against Cincinnati has gone down when blitzed. So they're actually better at blocking it up. They're obviously keeping extra protectors in. Burrow and Browning have both been excellent at getting the ball out quickly. Browning, he's only getting pressured on 33% of blitzed dropbacks, which is, again, lower than his actual pressure rate. The ball's coming out quickly. So I do think that matches up really well with Minnesota. There's going to also be those one-on-one opportunities with Chase. I wonder how much Minnesota does blitz today with you don't want to leave Jamar Chase one-on-one with the corners you have. There should be some opportunity for Browning to score. I think it's a really unique something's got to give situation where Cincinnati's been so good against the blitz and Minnesota's also, the best blitzing team in the league.
Yeah, those Viking corners, I mean, they do play well lately, man. So I don't know. Maybe they're good, or maybe the scheme is just that good. But
it's the scheme, and they execute, John. They execute the hell out of it. Right,
that's what I mean. Like, so that
Yeah.
In that vein, they are good.
But they listen. Remember, you and I discussed early in the season how when Vikings were terrible. I go, just give them time. They don't know what they're doing yet. This is a very sophisticated scheme.
Yeah,
they got it. Once they get it, they're going to be way better than they probably are from a talent standpoint. This is what they're doing right now, John, is incredible.
It really is. Like all of a sudden they're, I would say, a top easily 7 defense, easily, maybe even top 5. And then for the Vikings, as we've outlined here, the Bengals given up, I think it's the second most adjusted yards before contact per fantasy points data. So I feel pretty good about Ty Chandler here. Adam, I'll start with you. Ty Chandler, expectations here, carrying the load with Madison already ruled out.
Yeah, his thing is consistency. He has this tendency to try to break things long and not take what's there. We know it's explosive. Bouncer. What's that?
A little bouncing.
Yeah, and that's always been his challenge, but he's talented. Myles Gaskin almost certainly will be activated off the practice squad to be an extra back. Who's on the practice squad? Dwayne McBride. You might remember him.
Oh, the rookie. Yeah,
yep.
Of course. Done nothing.
Yeah, I know. Well, he actually got cut, and no one claimed him, so he went to the practice squad. So, yeah, my expectations certainly 60 yards. I think certainly possible. But we have to mention the key point here, John. Nick Mullins is the quarterback. I've seen him. I've probably seen him more than most people.
Mm-hmm.
He can only do one thing. He can only play in a West Coast offense that asks you to dink and dunk. Doesn't have an arm, but you saw when he played common football 4 years ago for the Niners, John, before they had enough.
Yeah.
And he got hurt.
Yeah.
But he is a short area, get it out, run after the catch guy, and he does fit the scheme, but shot plays are a different thing.
Yeah, no, won't have his right tackle, but Brett Hawkinson should do very well. As soon as he came into the game, Hawkinson heated up. Bengals have been terrible against the tight end. A plus schematic matchup for Jefferson. Maybe they move him into the slot for this matchup.
Yeah, they always have moved him into the slot a little bit. I think you'll see Addison in there as well. Obviously, the Bengals give up a ton of fantasy points to the slot, so I'm assuming they're going to come in with some type of game plan to take advantage of that with their guys. So whether that's Hawkinson, whether that's Addison or Jefferson, for sure they'll attack that area for the Bengals.
KJ Osborne, not very good. I think he had a drop or two last week too. He does have bad hands. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Indianapolis Colts. Certainly pretty clean injury report I see here. Ciamolo, the offensive lineman, looks like he's, I guess, iffy at him. No Johnny Taylor, Braden Smith. He's been out for weeks. The right tackle. Anything else?
Yeah. So basically, here's the cool thing. I mean, if you've got the Steelers fantasy defense, because I know a lot of you guys do. So Alex Highsmith has been cleared, so he'll play. That's great. And then TJ Watt, it didn't look good. If you watch the video from the game, it did not look good. He was disoriented. He's fine. He's been cleared. The only one who hasn't been cleared, and it doesn't look good, is Alex Ciamolo, one of their starting guards. And then, JT's out again with his broken thumb. This is expected. He'd miss at least 3 games. That's what's happened here. We know Zach Moss fails in. Braid Smith is out again. Their right tackle. They're going to get Juju Brents, who was one of their starting corners, back from his quadriceps injury. He was out for several weeks. And that is pretty much it.
I think Johnny Taylor, for those who have buys this week, I feel like feels pretty good for next week.
He's doing
they
much
didn't
better.
Go IR.
Well, here's the right. Well, that's why they didn't put him on IR, because they thought he had a chance to come back by the 4th game.
Mm-hmm.
So it just
could be wishful thinking on my part.
No, but he might listen. No, this is why you actually got it right. That's why they didn't put him on IR, because they thought he could come back by the 4th game. Yeah. So the hope here, and you'll know if he gets cleared to start practicing next week, then it's on. Then he's got a real shot.
Brett, do you see our guy Will Mallory's made a couple plays? He's made a couple plays this year. I don't know what his future is, but we are also looking at shadow coverage here for our guy Michael Pittman against Joey Porter. What do you think here? I think Gardner, though, could do well. Dare I say our guy Alec Pierce again this week?
Well, we didn't hit it last week, but we got a shot again this week with that Levi Wallace projected matchup there. So
that's what I mean.
Big fan of that. The other thing too, John, and I know people are weary of TJ Watt and Joey Porter shadow, but listen, the Colts are going to RPO you to literal death. I mean, they are almost every single throw or run is some type of RPO read option game. they are confusing the hell out of the D-line, the second level defenders. That's just what they're doing. That's why they're having so much, I guess, success that we didn't really see coming with Gardner Minshew. It's the Steichen offense, you know how that goes. So I don't know that I'm even scared of Porter with Pittman, to be quite frank, because of the RPOs. Pittman's going to get his. He's going to get that work in the short part of the field. And I like that matchup. Love the Pierce matchup. Even Josh
Downs too, though. I mean, that's what's confusing because they're giving up a lot inside Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and Patrick Peterson's been, not what he once was this year. Plus when they do, they're a man heavy team, but when they do go to zone, like those linebackers can't cover to save their life. So
just real quick, inactives. This is surprising. I wonder what's wrong with Parham. Donald Parham's inactive.
Oh, that bodes well for Everett.
Yep. So I just want to jump in. That's important. Jacobs is inactive. Brian Hoyer's inactive, so he'll be the inactive third quarterback, I would assume, but he's inactive. But the big one is, Parham. I'm going to look up and see if he's hurt, because that makes no sense at all, because he plays a lot.
Oh, he was on the injury report. He was limited.
Right, but I didn't get the impression that it was going to be a problem. So obviously his shoulder, he didn't get cleared medically with a shoulder injury. So
and
you're right, John.
Is got like Nick Vannett.
Right, who's a wide tight end, by the way. What's funny, he wasn't in college, but he became a wide tight end. So they're down yet another pass target.
Okay, although my luck, Smart Stone is going to go off.
Oh, here. Yeah, out of the blue in the Reds. He'll catch a touchdown in the back of the end zone, right?
86 or 84.
Good.
You a Smart Stone guy, Brett?
I never watched his college tape, so
I can't believe we didn't include Smart Stone in the fantasy points prospect guide. That's just an egregious omission there.
I agree.
We'll have to talk to some people about that. I don't know where are we at with Mitchie Poo here. It does seem like Pickens has per our tool a schematic matchup, not a good one for Deontay per the tool, but Brett, I guess like anything positive about the Steeler passing game, you're tying yourself to Mitch Trubisky, and that's a little dangerous.
Yeah, so there's basically three reasons I'm not touching it personally. One, the Colts have been really stingy for receivers in general. They're top 5 in adjusted fantasy points allowed to receivers. Secondly, their pass rush has come alive. Last 5 games, they're getting home 36% of the time, but they're doing it with just 4 guys, which means they've always got 7 guys in coverage, which really bodes well for your coverage unit. I just think they're a little stingier than we thought. Early in the year, we were picking on them a little bit, but you just can't anymore. You can't do it anymore. So
absolutely. That was season 1. Season 1 and 2.
Yep.
2023, they were bad. Now we're into season 4.
Yep. And with Trubisky, being the guy behind the center there, I just don't even want any part of that passing game this week.
Yeah, I hear you. Denver Broncos at Detroit Lions. Adam here. What's up with Dulcich? Is he potentially going to play?
John, now he has a foot injury.
Oh, I see he's out.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm sure. Well, the feeling was he wasn't going to play anyway this week. But now he has a foot injury in addition to the major hamstring problem. In fact, he saw a specialist for what the heck the problem is. So, could be. Yeah, that's the big one. The Lions, the only – actually, this is interesting. Now, Josh Reynolds had a back problem last year and this time. He's not definitely playing. He has a back problem now. So, JMO, if he doesn't play, would see an increase in snaps.
Brett, matchup-wise here, talk about it for Jared Goff. I mean, it does seem like a positive one schematically. Denver, though, obviously they've been very disciplined yet kind of aggressive, honestly. I mean, it seemed like they've been really good here. So how much of it? I think they're going to lean on the running game, right? And that's what you said on Wednesday too. Like you like the running game here.
Yeah, love the run game here. Denver is still. They had like a 2-week stretch where it looked like the run defense is coming around, but it just happened to be a schedule thing where I think they had the Vikings and the Panthers in there or something. So anyways, they're back to being terrible defending the run. Even the Chargers last week or was it last week or the week before? Anyways, the Chargers ran the ball well against them, and the Chargers can't run the football. So that was alarming.
That was the Chargers.
Okay. So for Goff, like Denver's pass rush has gotten a little bit better to coincide with that coverage unit. It's not anything too scary, though. I think they had one blow-up game where their pass rush is exceptional. The rest has just kind of been meh. And coverage isn't really how you beat Goff. It is pressure. So like if you want to get Goff in a blender, it is, exotic looks at the line of scrimmage, mixing up those blitz packages. I just don't see Denver. They don't really do that a ton. They're a coverage team. I think Goff, if he's called upon, I think he should still be decent. I don't think the volume will be there though to be amazing. Like I don't see a 45 drop back game for him unless they're playing from behind, which I also don't see. So I think this is a run heavy game for the Lions, and they get Montgomery and Gibbs back on track. They've tried to do that each of the last 2 weeks, by the way, and then for whatever Lions reason where they turn the ball over 3 times in a row, they got away from the run, but they should be able to stick with it this week.
Despite the tough matchup last week, per Fantasy Points data, Detroit had their best game of the year in terms of yards before contact.
Yeah.
So that goes extremely well.
Yeah, and I said that on the podcast last week, actually, John, that I thought the Bears run defense was a little overrated, and I thought the Lions would be very good. So
yeah, there you go. And then no shadow coverage for Amon-Ra from Surtain.
No, I don't think so. Maybe he travels with them when he's on the outside, but Amon-Ra plays in the slot enough that it really shouldn't matter.
And what are your matchup thoughts on Russ? Cortland Sutton scores every week. Jerry Jeudy disappoints every week. Had a touchdown taken off the board, as you probably saw, and a really tough matchup for Javonte in the running game.
Yeah, not a good game for Javonte at all, especially if the game script goes the way I think it will. Denver's going to have to rely on Russ's legs, and that's really what's killed the Lions' defense this year has been mobile quarterbacks scrambling, hold on to the ball, waiting for their guys to come open. This could be a big Cortland Sutton game, especially if he's going to draw Jerry Jacobs in coverage. I do think that's probably the direction to go there.
Let's go to Atlanta and Carolina. Adam, to steal your line, scalpers day off, perhaps. Here, I mean,
I'm more politically correct. Ticket brokers day off in Atlanta.
Oh, true. Yeah. My bad, dog. But man, this thing is Des Ridder. I mean, the only good thing about this is the only quarterback who's more of a buzzkill than Des Ridder is Bryce Young.
But it's funny though. Despite all of that, him and London hooked up big time last week, so that was encouraging.
We called it.
We
called the London breakout last week too.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So that was good. And Pitts actually scored. It was a Festivus miracle. That was good to see. Bijan got routes. He got the football. But here's the thing, though. You need to know if you have the Panthers' backs. I know it's been a nightmare, although at least one of the two of them are doing well. The Falcons are really beat up at D tackle. So Kentavious Street won't play, who's one of their starting D tackles who they got in a trade from the Eagles. Onyemato's been out with an ankle injury. He worked yesterday, didn't work today. That's not good. They have nothing left. They're skin and bones at D tackle. In fact, they would have to move Campbell inside if Onyemata can't play. So I know it's the Carolina backs. I'm just saying if you've got those guys at least,
right?
And Chuba obviously is their guy. I mean, Sanders has been an absolute nightmare. So I if you're struggling, use your line, John. If you're dying, I think Chuba's actually looking better than usual. Another line.
Okay. And then the O-line for Atlanta, Adam, is banged up too.
Yeah, so McGarry, the right tackle's got a knee injury. Doesn't look good for him. Matthews got hurt in the last game. They got to get through it. Dalma, the center, starting to work, but they're not sure. So you're right. They're all sorts of banged up. Now, Carolina, John, they are a competitive defense. Despite all their problems and how bad they are, they're competitive.
I mean, yeah, totally. Brett, I mean, I don't know if you saw the projection, but I'm looking at a very low volume game here for Ridder. Right. I got him attempting 25 balls here in this game. So what are your thoughts? Pitts might have a decent schematic matchup, not a good one necessarily for London this week. So again, I think a lot of handoffs.
Yeah, I fully agree. Carolina's just really, really competitive in the pass game. Like Adam said, their coverage unit's really, really good. Not a lot of busts, really solid communication. They mix up zone man enough that they keep teams on their toes. And then their pass rush is super underrated. Brian Burns is a freak. When they get home too, they're getting home really fast. 2.5 time to pressure, which is like top 5 in the NFL. So when they get pressure, they're getting home fast. I think all that said, they're going to want to keep the ball out of Desmond Ridder's hands as much as possible. So heavy
Yep.
Bijan. And it's a good game for it. So,
And Adam, to your point about Chuba, I think at this point they're running out the damn clock. Like they're down 2 touchdowns, they'll still just keep handing the ball off.
Yeah, because they don't the coaches clearly don't want to put it in Young's hands yet. He's just not there. There were a couple games where it looked like the light was still starting to go on, and then
like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. The other thing is with Carolina, this is the healthiest they've been on defense probably all season, and that plays into why they're playing so on. Horn being back is huge.
Oh yeah. Plus Chin and the what's his name? Epinesa? Who is it?
No, Epinesa.
Not Epinesa. I was confused them. I think that might have been the same class. Who's the edge rusher guy there? No. Why am I? Oh, Yatir Gross-Matos.
Oh, he's okay. Yeah, Gross-Matos. Yeah. He's still in IR. He's just okay.
Oh yeah. He's been a buzzkill, I guess. Yeah, I haven't.
Totally.
Yeah, he's had a couple of moments, but anywho, let's move on to the Bears at the Browns. And man, Adam, Cleveland Browns, they like Joe Flacco, giving him a bunch of incentives here, and Joe is loving life right now, playing really well.
Yeah.
Don't love the matchup here. He's got a bunch of dudes banged up.
They expect Cooper to play. Yeah, he took his reps today, so that's good. Honestly, Njoku, who's this guy, by the way, clearly have great chemistry. He's had this lingering knee problem, but he plays. The only injury of note, and it could actually help Flacco, is Jaquan Brisker. He's got a groin injury. He didn't do anything today, and that they don't have a lot of depth at safety. But the reason why they've turned the defense around is they've been healthy in the secondary for like 5 weeks, whereas they were getting killed early because all their 4 starters had missed time.
Man, they do have a bunch of stuff here, though, for the Browns, though, like Bitonio, Thornhill. I mean,
Thornhill probably won't play, but Bitonio had knee surgery during their bye and only missed 1 game, and he should be good to go. Yeah, they just rest him during the week.
Brett, it seemed like some of that Njoku stuff was just like highly schemed stuff. He's wide ass open last week.
That's been all season. Most of Njoku's stuff has been schemed of some variety, or check down, scheme or check down.
Right. Right. Yeah, I actually liked Njoku this year. I didn't really bring that up much for a while because he wasn't.
No, you did like him a lot, and I think what happened, John, is obviously Watson with his shoulder. That wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
He just wasn't right fist. He couldn't get the ball. Yeah.
He also had the incident early in the year where he blew his face up or whatever.
Yeah. Luckily,
he played through it, but that looked painful. So,
hey, I mean, there's a guy. I'm not going to say the young generation's tough. Dude got burned and played. I wonder if he's a top 12 guy. I'm going to look that up right now. But I actually do think this is a little. I really just respect the Bear D right now. Like, Brett, your thoughts here? I don't know if anything's a gimme against the Bears right now.
Yeah, I think you can run the ball against them. I think. Yeah. I made that clear last week. Detroit had a good success doing it. Detroit had some really untimely turnovers last week that just screwed their offense. Including,
by the way, Njoku is tight end 7 right now, which is actually, I believe, where we had it.
Oh wow! And also Flacco, like, I didn't understand why it took so long for a team to sign him.
Yeah,
he's so much better than some of the quarterbacks playing right now.
I know.
People forget he played for the Jets last year with one of the worst offensive lines assembled.
It was good.
And by the way, he beat the Browns. He had over 300 yards.
Right, that's true. That's true.
I wrote before he even played. I'm like, I'm convinced that Flacco will still have NFL arm strength at like 45.
Oh yeah.
You know, low end at that point maybe, but still viable. But again, I don't love the matchup here. And it's like kind of, use them if you need them, but maybe not overextend yourself on a guy like Elijah Moore. I lost that prop last week. I see Jerome Ford is a little bit bad. I love me some Jerome Ford now. He does it every week. He does something.
Better than I thought, John. When I met him a year ago, because they talking to the Browns about him, they thought he could be long-term backup for Chubb. I mean, I wonder, because he's done so well and he's shown versatility. If Chubb's not ready next year, is he the guy?
I think he's a perfect guy if you want. Yeah, do that and like just do a dual backfield with an like kind of like they're doing with Kareem Hunt. He's got a pretty healthy role. Over for the Bears, Brett. What do you think of? Well, I guess DJ Moore, Adam, is fine, right?
He's not going to do a lot this week. He did a little bit of stuff today because they just to get him through.
Yeah,
and they are alive for a wild card spot. Believe it or not.
Wow. Well, Brett, I think it's a good spot here. A good schematic matchup for Fields, probably because they play a lot of man, and another Fields DJ Moore game. I think.
I am a little tepid on this, John, because I think it's so Chicago gives up a ton of quarterback pressure, and Cleveland has a phenomenal pass rush. Myles Garrett looks completely back, by the way. I know he was banged. He had a stretcher. He was a little banged up. If you go watch the tape last week against Jacksonville, he literally destroyed their game plan single-handedly. I think he could have a similar effect this week. He's going to be, and by the way, he's one of these dudes that's athletic enough to chase Justin Fields down, where there's not many of them in the NFL, and he can go toe for toe with. He's probably more athletic than Justin Fields. So I think he could be a game wrecker here. So I do agree with the schematic thing, like cut from a coverage standpoint. I think it favors Fields, but I just with the way Chicago's offensive line can fall apart at times and Cleveland's pass rush, I just get real nervous about that. We've seen Fields when it's not going well up front for him. He turns into a bit of a pumpkin.
And it's in Cleveland.
You remember that game, John? Remember the last time he played in Cleveland?
The rain game?
Well, I believe right? The game 2 or 3 years ago was one of the worst performances from a quarterback we've ever seen. Yeah. Remember how bad it was? We must have. I know we were working. For some reason maybe it was the following week. We were talking about how bad he was. It was one of the worst games we've ever seen.
Was it Fields?
Fields, yes.
I think it was like week 2 last year.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe that's when it was, but I just remember being horrified how bad he was.
I wonder if it was the year before.
Yeah, I think it was the year before. I'm pretty certain because I remember talking to their staff about it.
Yeah, it was his rookie year against Cleveland. He completed 30% of his passes.
John, it was actually 2021, yes. He was 6 of 20 for 68 yards.
Yeah, 6 of 20 for 68. Got sacked 9 times.
Did he get sacked 9 times? Oh.
Yeah, and he ran for
really
12 yards.
Terrific.
Wow. Well, that was the rookie year.
Okay, yeah. Sure, 21. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was his 3rd game.
Yep.
But still. Well, it's all out the window because Matt Nagy was there and he's no longer there, baby. Right. So, to talk about addition by subtraction, I am a Nagy hater. Yes, I am.
Ask the Chiefs about Nagy right now.
What's that?
Said ask the Chiefs about Nagy right now.
Hey, I've been saying Nagy since September.
Yeah.
And it's December now. And finally people are saying it, right, Adam?
Yeah, it's true.
No, you've been on. Look, at least Rashee Rice has done well, but I
true. I mean, he's getting better and better. Good for him, man. He's a nice kid. I liked him a lot. Anything else here? Running game for the Bears, Adam. I mean, what is the deal? What if they're down by 2 touchdowns in this game? Then
it won't be Foreman. It won't be Foreman.
Right. Will it be Herbert or is Johnson in the doghouse? I don't know what the hell anymore.
They're trying to figure out what their rotation should be.
Yeah.
It's been it's like, okay, Foreman's the guy, and then notice they take him out in passing situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then Herbert gets 1 carry, doesn't look good, they pull him. And the thing that's disappointing is they had a huge lead. They got down, they were up, then they got down, then they got the lead. And I get it, Foreman's going to be the closer. It's another thing that we learned. But man, Roshan, it was kind of weird. He just didn't really do much.
I haven't seen myself without glasses in a while. I'll cover myself up a little bit. Sorry, Brett. What were your thoughts?
From my vantage point, Foreman's the early down guy.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the change of pace. And then Roshan's the 3rd down specialist. That's a pass protector. They're using him mostly as a pass protector / check down guy. He'll be the dude chipping Myles Garrett all day. That's what he'll be doing.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're in a PPB league, points per block, then start Roshan.
That's a new one.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Actually, I'll be here indefinitely. Let's move on to Tampa at Green Bay. Injury-wise here, Adam.
Oh, it's a nightmare. All right.
Oh, Vita Vea, Carlton
you're not going to like
Davis.
this, John. You're not going to like this one. So this is how crazy it is. Aaron Jones is closer. They won't give him a thumbs up. They want to see what happens tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Certainly the closest he's been since he's been hurt with this MCL sprain. Dylan's got a broken right thumb. He doesn't know if he can carry the football. So it's going to be hard. I find it hard to believe he can play. So after that, then you've got Patrick Taylor, who had a very bad metal error last week. Oh, by the way, Christian Watson, highly unlikely to play. Dontavian Wicks will play, barring a setback. Reed got through practice today, okay. It's just they got a problem. They're all sorts of banged up.
Man,
that's where they're at.
Yeah, it's brutal. Brett, do think looks pretty good. Well, actually, not that great schematically. It's like I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to still learn about measuring, schematics and personnel and all that, and current level of play. What are your thoughts on Love here? Can the Bucs pressure him enough to throw him off?
Yeah, I think they probably can. I think this is going to be one of Love's tougher games in probably the last month. The Buccaneers pressure rate the last 5 games is 41.2%, which is insane. Really, really good number.
They blitz a lot.
Yeah, they firing up the blitz a lot.
I mean, they did just get ripped by Desmond Ridder, for God's sakes, too. Right?
That is true. They did get ripped by Desmond Ridder. The interesting thing, I think, is they're really good against the run. So if you're putting Love in predictable, passing situations, like we haven't really seen that recently, where he's stuck in these 3rd and 10s against a team that can rush the passer. I've noted now that several times he looks good in the 7-on-7 situations. I think this will be the first game he's had in a while where it shouldn't be a 7-on-7 situation. So, tough.
And then for Baker, looks okay schematically for Baker and Evans as well.
I'm excited about Rachaad White.
Of course, because Green Bay, per usual, late in the year, there you can run on them like every other year.
Yeah, they're getting absolutely gashed. Last 5 weeks, 2.46 yards before contact per carry. That is the worst in the NFL. And then Tampa Bay, on the other hand, guys, early in the year, the issue with the run game, the offensive line couldn't move anybody. They were averaging 1.1 yards before contact per carry weeks 1 through 9. The last 5 games, they've got that number all the way up to 1.8. So they are getting it done in the run game. Rachaad White's numbers, efficiency going up. I love this matchup for him. I think he's going to continue to smash.
Right now, ironically, he is exactly at his 3.7 YPC number playing with Tom Brady last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
He might actually, dare I say, hit 4. I mean, that's
a stretch. I don't know if he can do it. But here's the thing: for what we do, he's the guy. He doesn't share the ball, which is what we told you people would happen. Don't worry about Sean Tucker. Whoever put that out was incorrect. and I give these coaches credit. They stuck by Rachaad when he got off to the slow start, and he gets in the end. And Brett was alluding to this. He gets the job done every week. It may not always look pretty, but he gets the job done because he's high volume, man.
Right, he's getting rushing volume, which. Again, the more volume, bigger back, wear you down a little bit. He keeps coming at you, and then he's popping off, the old story. You keep consistent with the run, and then boom, the runs are like 2-2, 3-3, 23. You know what I mean? You rip it off. And that's kind of what's happening, either that or in the passing game too, as well. Moving on to the Jets at the Dolphins, Adam, and once again, injury-wise, not looking great. No Devon Achane, no Tyreek Hill at practice this week.
Yeah, Hill, this is on purpose. They're still optimistic that he'll be able to play. And you saw him come back at the game, which is surprising. But this is their plan because it was a short week. They weren't going to practice much anyway. The concern I have for Achane, not only is it a toe injury, this is his 5th injury. Shoulder, ankle, knee, ribs, now toe. So this is kind of what you're dealing with, unfortunately. Now, if he doesn't play, this is where Jeff Wilson could be a factor.
Yeah. By the way, and you've been covering the league and injuries for a long ass time. I talked with Dr. Mark Addix again today. He comes on the radio every Thursday. I mean, I text him all the time too, but get information. But last week he said that Lawrence's ankle was not a high ankle. This week he said that Tyreek's was a high ankle.
Yeah, it does look, honestly. Now, I would also say that he had another bad ankle injury earlier this season, and he was able to play through it. I don't know how.
I mean, guys,
yeah, and I don't know how he came back. It looked bad. If you watched it, I thought it was his knee. Until I saw 3 or 4 replays, the first replay I thought was his knee, and then you could see it again. Okay, it's his ankle, and it's not a low ankle sprain. It's definitely not a lock he's playing. You always want to be, because you're in the playoffs now, you want to be safe, not sorry. So you better have somebody else ready if he's not able to go. But he's got this ability to play through injury, which is incredible. But here's the thing against him playing, because they know they're a playoff team. It's obviously they want to win the division and potentially get the first round bye. They're not going to risk anything here, so he's going to have to show that he can go.
Their chances of getting that really, really hurt last week, by the way, with that loss, I'm sure. And then we got a Van Ginkel watch here, because God forbid the Dolphins have to play without Van Ginkel.
Oh, he should go, but their line is banged up. 2 or 3 guys are hurt on their offensive line, and for the Jets, their line has got some issues, but Zach Wilson got the job done.
Yeah, he did, Brett. Last time out, this was Thanksgiving Day, right? Oh no, it was Black Friday. Right. We did at Fantasy Points Data point out, and I know Graham Barfield did, that the cover 4 matchup for Jalen Waddle, I believe against the Jets, was a great schematic one, and Waddle did really well. And I guess the same applies this week.
Absolutely. Yep. The reason for that, John, is because they're going to line Waddle up in the slot a lot. He's going to get one-on-one looks against the safety. And when you're playing the Jets, you'd much rather go against one of their safeties than the 2 corners they have there on the outside. So big time matchup for Waddle.
You feel better about Breece Hall, Adam? I mean,
yeah. I mean, he I give him credit for playing through the injury, and what I told you, John, this season about why Hall was struggling had nothing to do with him. It was Wilson's ability to move the ball downfield. It's hard when you're going 3 and out. You can't get any kind of volume. And at least last week, John, he was awesome in the pass game. We've been waiting for that all season. It was incredible.
Yeah, incredible. And then of course, Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears combined for 7 catches for 106.
Yeah,
in that matchup as well here. Anything else here? Obviously, most are looking good. I think we can move on. I don't love Tyler Conklin for what it's worth this week. KC at New England. Was talking with Charlie Weiss today about the old takedown of the top playmaker, and that will be in effect, I believe, with William Belichick and going up against Travis Kelce, which I believe will bode very well for Rashee Rice. Injury-wise here, Adam, not looking good for Pacheco.
Yeah, it's his same shoulder. It's interesting. He only has a shoulder contusion, so that's not something that typically keeps a player out. But the injuries to the shoulder that was surgically repaired in the offseason, that's the concern. Obviously it doesn't look good. He hasn't practiced since he got hurt. That is a problem. Because it just changes their ability. It hurts them, because Andy Reid is. I know he's not a run game guy per se for his career. We know that, but they just don't have the ability to grind carries out at all.
Yeah. Well, schematically, Brett, it is a pretty good matchup for Mahomes, but by the numbers, they've been stingy. I mean, what do you think? Does the futility essentially for Mahomes continue another week? Or does he, have a little bit of a make good bounce back game in this one?
Yeah, I hate playing New England in general. They're stingy all across the board. Yeah, not going to really let you run. Not going to give you any easy throws. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Okay.
I personally don't love it. So
all right, I don't either. I mean, hey, Rashee Rice again, probably going to be a freaking savior if they really focus on taking down Kelce, which I would imagine, they're a weak offense all year, and Belichick, they sniff out those weaknesses, so they'll figure it out. And then Adam, Zeke Elliott, though, I don't know if he gets 29 carries, but another 20 forthcoming.
That was incredible what he did. I was just like, wow. And the checkdowns in the pass game. I mean, Zappy's a perfect guy for that because that's what he is. He's a checkdown quarterback.
Yeah. By the way, Brett, I don't know if you noticed, but it's like an off the charts positive schematic matchup for Zappy. I'm sure data points are somewhat limited there, but right, FYI.
Yep. Yeah, it's a relatively small sample. I think it's got 100 dropbacks in the system compared to some of these other guys that have 350 right now. So
yeah. And then Adam, also we do have Parker and Juju. I guess Demario Douglas is returning, but I don't know about Juju and Parker.
Well, actually, Demario Douglas has not been fully cleared yet. So just so you know, he's not been fully cleared.
Oh,
but
okay.
He's trending well. The thing that is interesting is Tyquan Thornton, a guy they spent a second round pick. He just doesn't get the ball enough. He's healthy.
I mean, they were trying to be all explosive with him, and
no, I know I listen. I understand with this particular quarterback, they're not going to drive the field down much. Things as someone with the Patriots told me about Zappy, if he gets a clear picture and no one's around the pass target, you might see him throw past 20 yards. But he's another risk averse quarterback. That's why he was not. He was cut in August, and 31 teams didn't want him, didn't claim him off waivers. That's not good.
He's the anti-Brock Purdy.
Yet, for a half of football last week, he looked damn good.
He did.
Could this game be like 14-10?
Yeah. I mean, we've got an expected total here of 37. That's like a shootout. Well, it is the Chiefs. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it's. Yeah, I can see it being like a 20-10 game.
Yeah.
KC. Moving on to Houston at Tennessee, Adam, it does not look great for CJ Stroud and Nico Collins.
Yeah, well, Collins has got a calf injury. Calf injuries and receivers don't mix well. So I would count on him not playing if you have him. If he plays, great. But right now, it does not look good. Now, Stroud, it's real simple. If he doesn't even get a limited practice in, it's highly unlikely he would get cleared. It's extremely rare, not impossible, since they put the protocols in, but it's very rare for a player to get cleared on Saturday or Sunday. It's happened, but it's extremely rare. And coaches hate playing young quarterbacks, particularly rookies who've not practiced. So it doesn't look good, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. They've got Will Anderson. Yeah, he's got his ankle injury. George Fan, I didn't get the feeling like it was too bad with his hip injury, but he didn't work today.
Javier Thomas.
Javier Thomas he was their nickel. He's got a hamstring injury.
Was it Javier?
Yes, I checked.
It was Tavier.
I think it's Tavier. It's Tavier.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Tennessee here? We got a bunch of dudes here, DMPs.
Well, Simmons, the big ones, and I don't know how they hung in last week with their run defense, but Simmons doesn't look good for him to play. Christian Fulton, their best corners done for the season. He's put on IR.
Yeah.
Kyle Phillips, he got benched a couple weeks. He's a non-factor.
I give up.
Yep. Jack Gibbons is one of their starting inside linebackers because another guy got hurt, so he's starting now. That's it. Henry was rested today. He's fine.
Goes off against Houston, and all of a sudden, I was worried about this matchup a couple of weeks ago, Brett, but a big difference now. Although, hey, I would say yet again another great job by the Houston Texans. They actually have one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league.
Davis Mills?
I think how many backups are better than Davis Mills?
Oh, Case Keenum.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Is he really? Wow, they got a stable of QBs over there. What?
I mean, they kind of do.
Yeah, Davis Mills is okay. I mean, yeah, to your point, there's probably worse starters than Davis Mills, I guess, but
yeah,
the bar is really low right now because of all the injuries.
I mean, we can go through it here. Kyle Allen, Trevor Siemian, AJ McCarron, Trubisky, Ellinger, Beth. I mean, it's bad.
It's brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, I don't know how much I trust Davis Mills to get the ball moving, but Texans defense, you can pass on them. So,
I mean, Davis Mills has had a couple games where like, oh, look at him, So I know it's up and down. I'm just saying, like, tread some water here. We're gonna get Dalton Schultz back at him, right?
Yep, looking good. But unless he has a setback, he's definitely playing.
Would you trust Noah Brown if you needed him in the playoffs?
Yeah, he's playing with that ankle injury. And I know the Titans are banged up. Every once in a while, they shock you. You'd be like, man, how do they get that done? They're not very good in this. They're really, if you look at their talent level in the secondary, safety, it's not good. At corner, it's not good. But they are somewhat competitive on the back end. I don't know how, but they are.
Yeah. Well, and then pretty good. Another good schematic matchup here for the Titans. I mean, the Titans offense looking pretty good here, Brett. I mean, Will Levis looked like Braveheart out there last week. You got a little too excited there, bruh. Little too much of the vein poppage, but D Hop, Chiggy, it's actually kind of looking really good for Tennessee.
I love Will Levis this week. Texans defense allowing 8.5 yards per attempt over the last 6 games.
Wow.
They've definitely softened up. They play a ton of cover 3, a lot of cover 6. Both those coverages Levis has shredded since he's been starting. He ranks 5th in fantasy points per dropback against both cover 3 and cover 6. Texans are also giving up the 6th most schedule adjusted fantasy points to wide receivers. Hopkins has our 7th highest coverage grade of the week. This is a Levis Hopkins Chig smash spot. I love it. These guys are looking really good. I really credit Levis for his game last week. He started back to first 2 drives, catastrophic errors, and then he turned it around. And he's just a gamer. I mean, his personality, he has to play for a guy like Vrabel or like a Dan Campbell guy, someone who can match the intensity. It's like him and Vrabel is a perfect combo.
How many more starts do you need from Levis to where you feel okay about a long-term evaluation? What are we at? 12, 15, 20? I don't know.
More. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
he could spin it.
Yeah.
It's just him handling the word in scouting is, because I did a lot of work on him for the draft. How's he going to handle success and failure at this level?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of energy, but you don't know about a quarterback until he goes through some adversity.
True.
And we're not going to know. It's a great question, though, John. I mean, that's actually one Titan fans should be asking themselves. How is he going to handle this? Because remember, Treylon Burks has missed almost all the season. They expect him to break out season. The offense is going to change next year. Henry almost certainly won't be back. And Vrabel, if he keeps his job, he should. But if he's back, his mantra to the coaches this offseason was, we want to be more forward thinking and not be so Henry reliant.
Yeah. And
they haven't been able to run the offense quite like they want to because of Burks' injury. They just don't have the depth at receiver. Kyle Phillips has not helped him.
Yeah.
But next year, John, is when you're going to know, because the offense is going to change. I'm telling you, it's going to change.
Yeah. I guess it's 2 phases for me. Like the first maybe 15 games, for me, I can see if the guy has a chance. And then you put him on like a 2-year, kind of evaluation deal, but neither here nor there.
He's got a lot of ability, though, John. He's an aggressive thrower.
Yeah.
You love that.
It's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a little Jay Cutler in him. He definitely takes on a lot more contact than Jay Cutler. That's for sure.
That's interesting that you would say Cutler. It's very interesting.
Well, you know what's interesting too, actually, when the Titans drafted him, I don't know if anybody else had this thought. Maybe they did. Maybe I missed it, but I was like, you know what? He's kind of Tannehill too, right?
Yeah, I mean, Tannehill's sneaky mobile. I think Levis is sneaky mobile.
Might be a little see it, throw it, kind of pretty strong arm, athletic.
You know what's funny, John? One of the knocks on him, who's overdeveloped physically, because he's all bulked up.
Yeah. It's a bit much. Yeah. I mean, Tom Brady is him.
As a guy who likes to evaluate character, I don't know how you can look at a guy being bulked up and be like, that's a bad thing.
I know. I'm just saying.
He's got discipline. That is a disciplined dude right there. Like,
I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm just saying, in scouting, people will bring stuff up to me, and I kind of laugh. I'm like, okay, all right.
It didn't really work out for Brady Quinn either, though. When he all
Well, you're right, John. Oh, he looked like Mr. Olympia. You're right. Well, his mechanics are also pretty bad.
Yeah, maybe there was a correlation. Niners at the Cardinals, injury wise.
Yeah, I'm a little. Let's go with Cardinals, John, real quick.
Yeah.
Hollywood is going to try to play. He got limited work in today. It's just not. He's had this heel injury for about 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Wilson hasn't been cleared yet, but he's working from the shoulder injury. He's missed obviously a lot of playing time this season.
Yeah.
Niner wise, they're just for the problem is their D lines. But Armstead almost certainly won't play. Hargrave's got a hamstring injury that doesn't look good for him.
Ward.
Elijah Mitchell probably won't play this week. He didn't play last week. So Mason, who scored last week, will be McCaffrey's backup.
What about Ward?
They are going to. They think he'll be available. Now the question is, do they got to evaluate if there's any risk?
Okay, I'm upping a projection right now for Mason. I did not know that about Mitchell. We'll see. We'll finalize it as we move along. All right. Well, matchup wise here, not the greatest schematic for Purdy, but another Debo matchup here. Certainly positive, Brett, for Ayuk, but we do seem to point data wise to another Debo day.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point, John, where I like all the matchups across the board. I like Ayuk, I like Debo, I like Christian McCaffrey, I like Kittle. Debo definitely going to have the strongest one-on-one matchup for sure, especially with the way they use him in the design touch realm. He should have a really good game. But I like all.
If there's one odd man out, I think we talked about this on Wednesday. It could be Kittle. They have been stingy against tight ends.
Yep.
Third fewest receiving yards to tight ends, the Arizona Cardinals, which is weird because for like a half a decade, I think I put my middle son through college recommending tight ends against the Cardinals. But matchup wise for Kyler, I don't know about this one here. It's a little scary, although maybe
I don't like it at all. I have him.
What's that? Adam?
I have him. I don't like him. It worries me.
Yeah.
One thing Kyler's been great at since he's been back is getting the ball out way quicker than his career average. I think his time to throw this year is like 2.52. His career average is like 2.9. So like ball's coming out way faster. I think that's going to help him, navigate that 49er pass rush a little bit. Problem is, I don't like the skill player matchups. So I don't know how he's going to win. It's going to have to be all legs, and then that would suggest he's not necessarily getting the ball out quick. So I don't. Yeah.
Well, the one thing is that they have been a lot more giving to tight end. So maybe Trey McBride can have a big day.
Yep. McBride.
They're actually correct that. I guess now they're tight, but earlier in the year, they were definitely giving up some production. I was like, what? Zach Ertz got 6 for 53 in this matchup on 10 targets, but I guess they've been stingy ever since, but or lately, but I mean, Kyler, look, give me 200 yards, a touchdown, and either run for 40 or run one in, and you're decent, 17, 18 points there. Bad matchup for James Conner. Let's see here. DC at LA. Well, I mean, it's a beautiful game here for fantasy production potentially. Injury wise, Adam, what I didn't see Brian Robinson today. What was the deal?
He didn't work, and it's not good because they're coming out of the bye.
Okay.
I'd be very surprised if he played.
There you go.
Very surprised.
He's probably out.
Yep.
Which Chris Rodriguez, I mean, I don't think Antonio Gibson is going to merit much more of the early down work if Robinson's out. Honestly.
Yeah, and plus with his ball security issues, although Rodriguez did have one fumble, but I don't know that I'd risk playing Rodriguez. It's in a playoff situation.
Yeah.
But if you're to use a Hansen line, if you're dying, you can, as long as Robinson's out. I mean, if you're looking for 8 to 10 points, possibly.
Yeah.
But Gibson, now, of course, if Gibson fumbles, which he's prone to do, Rodriguez is up next. They don't really have anybody else. They would call up, your guy who will never go away, Jonathan Williams. Almost certainly be brought up.
Oh my God.
Can you believe he's still in the league?
That had to be a decade ago. He fell in the draft, right?
Yep. Yeah.
To the Bills.
Yep. He could call. It's 2016. He's been with about 7 or 8 teams. He's been on and off Washington's roster for 4 years, but he's got a lot of ability, man. He's compact,
Brett, seemed to be a pretty good schematic matchup for Sammy Howell, and not that we should, I guess, question Sammy Howell by week 15. Maybe McLaurin. What are your thoughts here? Odell did well in this matchup last week.
Yeah, I like McLaurin a lot in this game. I know on paper LA's been stingy in the past game, but I think that's kind of that's changed the last 5-6 weeks. They do give up a lot of points to outside receivers, right? Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah. Killer Witherspoon, he's solid.
He's beatable, John. He is beatable though.
Beatable,
but
yeah.
Well, and it's just the style of defense they play. It's just drop zone.
Yeah.
Like they give up a ton of stuff underneath them. If you're looking for PPR volume, like that's how you take advantage of them. And so Terry McLaurin is a great possession receiver. Jahan Dotson can even get involved. Some Curtis Samuel maybe on the design stuff, but I like all that for Sam. He's done a good job too, by the way, of getting the ball out quicker the last 5 or 6 weeks. Sack totals are down. Time to throw is way up. Being a little more decisive, that's going to help those PPR numbers too, because more volume, I think more throwing volume, more completion volume, I should say. So,
and if you need a tight end, let's not forget, I think everyone liked Isaiah Likely last week. We were all in prop wise. He crushed. And then the week before, freaking Harrison Bryant got the Rams. So Logan Thomas. And then, of course, for Stafford, Brett, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but we've got Puka and Cuppy here in our top 10 this week.
Yeah. And, Kupp has shown some real signs of life. He's got 18 targets the last 2 weeks, out targeted Puka in both of those games. Puka, they've kind of gone away a little bit from the design stuff, and they're getting more downfield with him. So it's a nice little wrinkle to his game here. He's caught a couple deep balls the last few weeks. So, I like both their matchups though. Both guys should have really nice games.
John, they're gonna in Forbes that here. See, John, to you, and you love this term. They're in evaluation mode.
Yeah.
So Forbes, if he should get cleared to play from the elbow injury, he's going to play. Mm-hmm. You know how bad that they have no pass rush, no secondary, corner. Stafford, Brett, I would ask you this. I know at times he doesn't look right, but he's putting numbers up. What do you think of him right now?
So I had been very critical of him going into last week. He definitely looked right against the Ravens.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah,
he looked awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yep. I know his completion percentage was garbage, but some of that was drop. Some of that was a lot of throwaways actually too. I know he had to escape some pressure and get the ball out. So,
you would asked about why is DeMarcus Robinson playing? He blocks for the run game. That's what I was told. I mean, and Tutu's also has an injury, but he's so small. He's just always hurt. What's that?
He's just always banged up. I mean,
and he's just too small. But DeMarcus Robinson will not go away. It's unbelievable. Remember, he was a savior for the Ravens last year. Was it last year?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I got to tell you, I studied Kyron Williams a little bit. I'm like, wow, like he is so patient, and he's like a pretty good stop-start. Like it's like, you know what it is? Like he's running really well within the timing of the play, Brett, if that makes any sense. And there seems to be a good feel for it. You know what I mean? Like he was getting all positive runs last week.
That's how he's going to have to make a living, because he is probably the least spectacular athlete at the running back position in the entire NFL. So he's got to be smart.
Wow.
He's got to, I mean, just it's facts.
I get it. I know.
Numbers and GPS times and whatever. But I mean, it's just, that's how he's going to have to make a living. And he's been slippery too, making guys miss. That's not
John. What Brett just said is why teams are so down on him, because he doesn't look the part, but he's a start vision patient runner.
Yeah.
And you see when he sees it, John, I don't care what his time numbers are, he accelerates it. How does he? You notice
He's
knows
a
where to
slow
go.
the hole, fast
gets-
through the hole guy.
Yeah, he's been a look. I was with all those NFL teams. I didn't see it.
Same.
Nobody saw it, but this is a great story.
I mean, I was doubting him up until like October.
And John, they love the kid personally, so it's going to be interesting for Dynasty League people. They're going to have a decision to make. Like, it's so good right now. How do you possibly go away from him next year?
I would sell personally.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's
I'm
not.
going to look
talented.
into it.
He's
Believe me. I'm gonna look
replaceable.
into it. What's that?
He's very replaceable.
John, he gets the job done. I mean, what more do you want this guy to do?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't think they're going to sign him to any big long.
No, you don't have to sign him. He's got 2 years left on his deal.
Yeah,
he was drafted last year.
Drafted another back. Maybe
he's also not very big, but the guy plays bigger than his listed size. He's a scouting term. What a story!
Oh, that's the other thing. Okay, I mean, how many years we're going to stack up here with that small frame with that body?
I know. It's fair. Look, remember last year he was given a chance and he blew it totally.
Right.
This year he looks phenomenal.
I mean, one of it's the best year to jump in just eyeball test is Ray Rice for me, because Ray Rice.
I don't even remember that.
Was not that good as a rookie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Denver
historically inefficient as a rookie.
What's that, Brett?
Rice was historically inefficient as a rookie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Yeah. Okay. He was not good. No, he was not. Because I was a big Rice person coming out. I'm like, oh, this kid's freaking good, And then he like really let me down that year, and then he improved dramatically in year 2. Dallas at Buffalo, injuries. Adam. Micah Hyde, it's a big one.
Yeah, unfortunately he's got the neck stingers, and he had this earlier this season and missed time, so it's not looking good for him for this game right now. What's that?
Epinesa, I see Epinesa.
Yeah, he's more of a run game guy who's kind of overachieved as a pass rusher this season. That's not really they didn't draft him to be a pass rusher. He's a power end to stop the run.
I thought they did when they did, but that's whatever.
He's really not. I have a friend who scouted him. He told me he said he's not really as good as his pass numbers. He's always been a run game guy. That's why they drafted him.
Right.
So
Teron Johnson looks like
he'll
go. Teron Johnson.
Yeah, their nickel will go. Dallas is going to have everybody. They're giving some rest to some players who are. No, one thing that's happened though: Cook's illness. Stephon Gilmore illness. 4 players have illnesses who didn't work today, but I don't get the picture that there's a big concern here.
Oh, okay. Brett, not the greatest schematic matchup here, I don't think, for Dak and Lamb, against that zone. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Decent one for Ferguson. Any thoughts on this matchup here for Dallas?
Yeah, it's a little concerning. You mentioned the matchup. I also think Dallas hasn't played a pass rush of this caliber probably since the 49ers game. Buffalo's pass rush has really come alive, man. They're like, Von Miller looks back. Took him some time. The expectations we have as fans are like, guy tears his ACL. They come back from injuries so fast now. We expect that guy to be what he was right away, but he just wasn't. It took him some time. He's ticking on all cylinders right now. And I know he's got the off-field stuff, whatever. I don't even want to get into that, but he looks great on the field. So they're another one of these teams that get a lot of pressure. 39% pressure rate the last 5 weeks with just 4 guys. So they rush 4.
That was the whole point of getting Von Miller.
Yep, that was the whole point of getting Von Miller. Some of their other ancillary rushers are like he alluded to Epinesa overperforming as well. They have a couple other ones that are playing really well too. So and then it just with what they want to do with that drop coverage, like it really helps when you get home with 4 guys. You don't have to commit an extra pass rusher.
You're just like smothering everybody because you're only rushing with 4.
Exactly. So and those linebackers have needed some help this year too. So they're getting it with now that they can drop 7 into coverage a lot. So their blitz rate has gone down progressively all year. So
good job by McDermott on that side of the ball, I guess, right?
Yep.
I mean, and then for the Bills, I just a gut feeling because I got eliminated in our ACI league, and freaking Stephon Diggs got 5 points. If Mr. Caplan could have won last week, I would have been in the playoffs.
Well,
buddy.
see, John had to take 2 or 3 leagues I'm in with John. I'm either first or second in scoring. One of them I didn't get in at number 1 in scoring. I didn't get in, and John crushed me on Twitter for it, or X. So I have to say in the ACI, you're not in. Ha ha. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. No, but you're not in the other one for.
I know it's ridiculous.
That's hysterical. I didn't make
Number
a
one in
waiver wire
scoring.
move until November.
Guys, what are you on in victory points? I need something to get me in. Can I petition?
Oh, I don't know, man. It is a shame, but it's like the software's locked your ass out.
It's so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. Number one in scoring, don't get in the playoffs. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and you spent all of your fab dollars. I have all $100.
Well, guess what, John? I'm going to try to win the consolation bowl just because I'm pissed off. I'm actually going to. I won't pick. My roster's so loaded. I don't need any players.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
I
tried to pick up guys in the ACI this week for the consolation bowl.
Did you? Like, I did. You killed me. Did you vote on Twitter? Should John be allowed to do that?
No, they already C-blocked me. They closed it off. I was gonna make all these moves. That was a whole running joke,
Brett. John crushed me because it was in the consolation round. I was picking players in our, and it's on Yahoo.
Yeah.
John was so pissed off. He's like, "You can't do that.
I'm fighting for my playoff life over here."
Right. So he put a poll on Twitter.
Round.
And John, how many people voted? Like 5 or commented? Like 500 people? It was crazy. It was insane.
Yeah. Just stirring it up. But Brett, I do like Steph Diggs here and Allen.
Yeah, they're both so Allen's heating up a lot, and Steph Diggs is due for a game. And the Cowboys, like, go through their track record the last 6-7 weeks. They have not been good against teams' number one receivers.
Yeah,
it's been, I think, like they've given up at least 90 yards to a receiver in like 6 of 7 games. So I mean, part of that is their corners play so over the top aggressively that they get got sometimes. So I do really like Steph Diggs in this game. Oh,
and remember one thing in the Eagle Cowboy game, AJ Brown, not only did he have 9 for 94, he had a terrible drop on a sideline, deep sideline, right sideline. It went right through his hands. Remember, he beat Gilmore. Yep. So to your point, Brett, Brown, and also he fumbled too. Don't forget he fumbled.
Yeah, that's true. And
are we giving up on Gabe Davis?
Given up on
because this I hate to say it, but I mean they play man and maybe you want Gabe against zone, but I wouldn't be shocked if he made a play.
Yeah, every time I give up on Gabe Davis, he comes back with a 3-touchdown game.
Exactly.
So I don't even know if I'm in on Gabe Davis, but I'm definitely not out on him. So.
Yeah,
I don't know, John. What's the line? I thought I was out. They pulled me back in.
Yeah, I regret being in.
Yes, I've had it with Gabe. I can't take it. I just can't take it.
I'm not even sure I'm out, but
I don't even have him on my teams that I can't take it.
Yeah, I know. James Cook looking good. I think you can run on Dallas, and they got it going on right now, and getting the ball to James Cook too, like in the passing game, like scheming him up and diversifying, everything. It's good. Moving on, Baltimore at the Jaguars. Injury wise, Adam, quickly, looks like a bunch of limited dudes. Yeah,
the only ones that should be concerning in this game, really known for, Kyle Hamilton for IDP leagues. He's got probably a grade 1 MCL. That's why he's got a chance to play. Roquan, he's going to play. He had a back injury. He took all his reps today. But the big ones here that impact the matchup is that defensively, Tyson Campbell's got the quadriceps injury. He's still very questionable. And he's their best corner. They think they're going to have one of these backup left tackles, Walter Little or even Ezra Cleveland, who's been playing, he's a guard who's playing tackle. He started the other game. They think they'll have one of them. Etienne's okay. It's the same injury he's had for several weeks. And Trevor Lawrence came through the game well. I mean,
unbelievable. I mean, he had no limp.
It's pretty. And I told you, John, last week, he didn't have a high ankle sprain. I knew he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brett, what do we think of this matchup here? I mean, we did just see the Ravens get kind of carved up a little bit by the Rams.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm indifferent. So I know Trevor played through the game last week, but what I saw was a guy who couldn't drive off that knee or ankle, whatever we're calling it. Okay. He had a lot of balls dying on him. I mean, his completion was garbage in that game on like 55 dropbacks. So
that's true.
I don't want to crush him. I'm not going to say he was terrible, but I just think like the Baltimore defense is really stingy. Their pass rush is extra elite right now. Like last 5 games, 43% pressure rate. They also have pulled back on the blitzes. Like early in the year, it was all schemed up pressure. They're actually getting guys to win one-on-one now. Justin Matabuke is having like just a ridiculous season. He's going to get absolutely paid in the offseason. But I'm just a little worried if Trevor is a little immobile and he can't fit the ball into those tight windows because the ball's dying on him because he can't drive off that knee. I just don't know what's going to be there for him against this defense.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I think will be Evan Ingram.
Yeah. Ingram looks great to me. So
yeah, he really does. And we saw the backup, the rookie Davis Allen, Senior Bowl guy, right?
Yeah.
Made some plays last week. Yeah, okay, that's a little scary. I don't know about Calvin Ridley either. So to your point there, then what about Lamar and the matchups here? It's actually not the best schematic matchup for Lamar or for Flowers, but maybe another likely game.
Yeah, it's not a great schematic matchup. Jacksonville's pass rush has been like a roller coaster all year. Against bad tackles, they've really, really done well. And when they play, above average tackles, they kind of just completely fall off. If Tyson Campbell's not playing in this game, though, John, I think I do like this matchup for Lamar and Odell Beckham Jr. specifically. He looks like he's got some juice lately. So
absolutely,
really, really come on strong.
How's he getting so open?
Right.
Breaking ankles.
He's a phenomenal route runner, always has been.
Did you notice 2 of the passes he didn't know where the ball was?
No, I didn't.
Well, the one he turned his shoulder like Tyreek did the week before.
Yeah, he actually had 2 of them, which is crazy.
But he's so open.
Yeah. So, some of that's that heavy play action Baltimore's using, but if Tyson doesn't go this game, he's probably going to get Monteric Brown on like 50% of his route run.
Buster Brown, go after him. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Odell will tear him up. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and then last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Seattle Seahawks, and it does look good here. I see for Geno Smith, Adam.
Yeah, he just has to have no setbacks tomorrow and Saturday. Remember, they play Monday night, so it's Saturday. Both running backs came through the game okay. They are no longer on the injury report. For IDP owners, if you have Jordan Brooks, the only concern would be him because he didn't work today with this lingering ankle problem. That's pretty much it. Philly's got a couple guys on defense. Obviously, the big problem is Eagles have the worst graded secondary in the National Football League. Most completions against, most yards against. The metrics are so bad, John. They have the oldest secondary in the National Football League. 4 of their 5 starters are 30 years or older. Ooh. It's the field. I was shocked that Dak didn't go. No, I know they had a big lead at halftime, 24-6, but I was shocked that Dak didn't do better, to be honest.
So what do you think? So you like Geno as a player?
I do, but I wish he'd take a full practice. I hope he takes a full practice to make you feel a little bit better about it. Now here's
one. Yeah, Geno or Tua?
If Geno gives me a full practice on Saturday, I'm going Geno. I got to give him credit. That game he had against Dallas, John, he was bleeping awesome. He got the crap knocked out of him. Did you see that game?
Yeah. No, I felt like that was because they play a lot of man.
Right. I remember you liked him, but you know what, John? He got hit a lot in that game. He got a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah. Well, Brett, I mean, look, it's hard to argue against being bullish on Seattle if Geno's okay.
Yeah. I absolutely love DK in this matchup for sure, especially because Philly still does have a good run D. So even though they've been bad against the pass, I do think it's hard to run on them. So that should be their game plan. Also,
they've been a little leaky the last 2 or 3 weeks. Overall, they're still one of the best.
Yeah,
but you're not going to beat them by running it. You're going to beat it by passing. And John, this is from you guys, and I found this today in the data suite. I love this stat because I'm big on this. Carroll gave in to what Schottenheimer wanted in 2020, at least for the first half of coming out throwing. They're 9th in first half passes.
Oh, wow.
Their pass run ratio is actually higher than the Eagles, believe it or not, John.
Wow.
So they're going to come out. That's very important to understand the philosophy of a football team. I love that they come out throwing. That to me was a great nugget you guys had.
And that could be a good matchup too for Jackson Smith and Jigba.
That's what I was just going to say. In a cool little nugget on him, he is third in the NFL over the last 5 weeks in design touches. So they are going out of their way to get him the ball.
Higher than Debo?
Higher than Debo. Actually, the
Really?
only
Not higher than Jaden Reed, aka
Nope.
Skinny Debo.
Jaden Reed and Rashee Rice are the only two guys that have more design touches than Jackson.
Wow, that's a great nugget. I'm gonna credit you because I gave you credit on my Eagles podcast with Jeff Mosher. So I'll give you credit. That's a good nugget, Brett. So wait, number one in most design plays?
Number 5.
Design touches the last five games. Jaden Reed 1, Rashee Rice 2, Jackson Smith and Jigba 3. Ironically, all rookies. That lead the league. So
well, that's kind of how those are the types you should be designing plays.
Nice stuff.
For. Yep,
that's good stuff. Okay,
you know what I mean. I also for the Eagles, it's not the greatest schematic matchup, but I'm feeling a Dallas Goedert game, Adam.
Well, they play what 87% zone.
Yeah.
Goddard. So John, look, he's a fantasy tease. It's not a talent issue. It's just he can do it. He's supremely talented. But it's like 2 big games a season, and it's 4 for 50, 5 for 60. Rarely scores. It's just it's what happens.
But remember, was it Thanksgiving week? I was feeling Kittle in the matchup, and he didn't do it. But then he just did it last week.
He did. He had the long touchdown. You're right. Yep.
And Ferguson crushed him the week before.
Yep. 6. See, when you play, are they cover 3 or cover 4?
I think it's 3.
Okay.
Who's that?
Seattle.
Mostly cover 3.
Yeah, that's the most supreme coverage beater with tight ends.
Yeah,
doesn't always work. You can't just roll a guy out there and think it's going to work, but there are tremendous voids in that. So yeah, John, I hear you. Goddard just comes up short too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they should try. Oh,
they will. Look, how about this one? No other players got it. Was the 3 big targets got it? No one else got it in this past
right. Game. Yeah, the third receiver is just irrelevant there. I mean, it's the least relevant third wide receiver spot in football.
Yep.
DeAndre Swift, anything here? I mean, it's a good matchup.
Yeah. I love the matchup. No, the Seahawks have given up the most rushing yards in the NFL for the last 6 weeks. So they are getting crushed. They've gotten crushed 4 different times. There's a couple mediocre games in there, but they're getting the ball run down their throat. So,
all right.
Like I said yesterday on the show, John, their run defense got worse when they traded for Leonard Williams, which I don't know how that happens, but
how's that happen?
It is what it is.
All there right. It is. That is a wrap-a-roni on this Week 15 edition of Matchup Points here at fantasypoints.com. Great stuff, great information. Pretty good pace here. We thank our guy, Tommy T. I'll wrap it up here for Adam Caplan and Brett Whitefield. Good luck in Week 15. We'll catch you next week.